We're on a mission to find the greatest allotment site in Britain. We've travelled the length and breadth of the country to find Britain's greenest gardeners, tastiest produce and most inspiring community projects. And when our journey is complete, the most outstanding site will be named the Digging for Victory Champion. Welcome to Digging for Victory. Today we've travelled to the Eddington Lane allotments in Herne Bay, Kent, where 73 plot holders have been working their socks off to prove they deserve a place in the grand finale and a chance to win a prize worth £2,000. With over 10,000 allotment sites in Britain, Eddington Allotments in Herne Bay, Kent has done exceptionally well to get to the final stages of this competition. They are one of just 9 sites who were selected by a team of experts for their outstanding gardening practice and superb community relations. But only one can become the Digging for Victory champion, and across this series, I'm visiting each of the 9 nominated sites to try and choose a winner. Helping me with this difficult task is allotment expert Herne Genders. Hannah is a respected garden designer with 2 medals from the Chelsea Flower Show to her name, and she can attribute much of her success to an allotment plot in Birmingham where her gardening career began. Now we've decided to judge the sites in the spring when there'll be a hive of planting activity, and Hannah and I can clearly see their horticultural practices in action. Using a strict set of criteria, we'll be awarding points for produce, eco-friendliness, community relations and visual impact. So Hannah, first impressions?
Visual impact, really stunning. I mean, as you come in, all those flowers around that corner plot, really beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to score high on visual impact because it's absolutely immaculate here, isn't it? Absolutely well looked after and a real mixture of plants. You know, you've got ornamentals, you've got fruit, you've got herbs. They're really mixing it up here, aren't they?
Definitely, yeah. Heavy clay soil, I think.
Yeah.
And in this very, very dry corner of England, we're right down in the furthest bit of the southeast, aren't we, really? So.
Yeah, because it's so heavy clay and it's so dry here, it's going to be interesting to see what they do about irrigation.
It is actually, isn't it? I mean, look at this lovely little plot here. Taking the water off the shed.
Yep.
Nice growth of comfrey there. So it'd be interesting to see if there's much organic practice.
It will, because it is an immaculate site. It'd be interesting to see if that's all spade work or whether there's other methods being used,
Yeah.
eh? But that's a brilliant little plot. It's a good little example. He's really mixed it up. You've got the herbs, you've got some ornamentals, the rhubarb, even some roses there, the fruit in the background. Real mix of produce. Really nice little plot, that. In today's programme, Hannah and I will be casting our judgely eyes over the whole of the Eddington allotments. We'll see what the plot holders got up to spruce up their site ready for Judgment Day. How knowledge is being passed on to the next generation of gardeners. And we'll be finding out how one gardener seeks advice from the moon about what to plant and when. But most important things first, a site tea break has been called by site manager Diane and her husband Derek. Now, I reckon it's such a tidy site. Oh, you obviously run quite a tight ship, don't you? Are you you're not a bit of a taskmaster, are you, Diane?
Not really, but we've got some very keen gardeners here, and because we've got such a waiting list, people know they've got to keep their plots up to scratch.
The obvious thing for us is you're very far south. You're right down in the southeast, very dry, windy site.
It's very windy, yes.
Yeah.
We get the north wind straight from Siberia in the
Oh,
winter.
lovely.
Yeah. And then we get the westerlies coming over, obviously from the West Country.
And how do you cope with watering?
Well, we have the water butts around. Most people now have got their own water butts off their sheds.
Because it's quite mild here, Derek, do you get to grow some vegetables a little bit bigger than normal?
Well, yes, we started last year having a giant vegetable day, and we had large pumpkins, large beetroot.
So how big will your pumpkins get?
This year we've got American seeds, and we're going to have some 800 pounders.
£800? What can you compare that with?
A cow or
A
something?
small
A
car?
small cow.
Diane and her fellow allotmenteers have done brilliantly to get this far in our competition. The selection process began last winter as applications flooded in from sites around the country. Representatives from the National Allotments and Gardens Trust and the National Society of Allotment and Leisure Gardeners were called in to help, and using their expertise they nominated the 9 strongest sites. But now it's down to Hannah and me. We must visit each of the nominated sites and score them in 4 main categories: produce, eco-friendliness, community relations and visual impact. And when judging is complete, the 3 highest rated sites will go forward to our series finale. Each of our nominated sites has received a selection of gardening goodies worth £500 just for reaching this stage of the competition. But the Digging for Victory champions will win a prize of £2,000 worth of vouchers for their site. Here at Eddington Lane, the plot holders are determined to reach our grand finale. And when they heard we were coming back in January, they decided that one area of the allotments needed a serious spruce up. It's winter in Herne Bay, which means blustery winds and high seas. But with a competition to win and a £2 prize at stake, the Eddington allotmenteers are getting ready to whip up a storm of activity. The area next to the entrance gate is overgrown and a muddy mess, so site manager Diane has called in the troops and has devised a plan for action.
We're going to get it clean, we're going to get it weed-free, and we're also going to put some more plants and bushes in.
Diane had a 30-year career as a school teacher, and even with a class full of mature students, old habits die hard.
I've done your map. I've had to explain the map to certain members, which is why there are a few names on it. We want to show them that Eddington Lane is the best in the country, don't we? Yeah. So we get out there and we work hard. But I'm going to have a tea break at 10:15.
Motivational speech over. It's time to get the troops into action. Job 1 is to clear away the existing border and get rid of any dying plants. And with school ma'am Diane at the helm, everyone is put to work.
Eric, have a pickaxe. No, we don't want the Rosa rugosa in here. Oh, I tell you what, we'll need a wheelbarrow.
They may be pulling up plants left, right and centre, but Diane has a plan for the comfrey which is being carefully salvaged.
This is dwarf comfrey, and I'm going to take it over to one of the hedgerows and put it under the hedgerow because I thought it would help suppress some of the weeds. I'm not putting it into proper flower pots because there's no need. So as long as it's got a bit of soil around the roots, that'll be okay.
It's not just the comfrey that's being carefully salvaged. Diane's husband Derek has an eco-friendly plan for that old muddy grass.
We put the grass upside down so the green bits can't photosynthese, and then we're going to put some sulphate of ammonia on it to help rot down. And then in a couple of years' time, that'll all be a nice compost for people to put on their plots.
Plot holder Bob is a bit of an all-rounder, and in the spirit of recycling, he's been tasked with building a fence from old wooden pallets.
Looking good.
With Operation Victory in full flow, leading officer Diane can reflect on the unshakable spirit of her team.
And this is what happens on this site. If somebody needs help, you find there's always somebody to do it. You've only got to mention that something needs doing, and you turn round and it's being done.
As the light begins to fade, the passionate Eddington team decide to down tools. In just a few hours, they pulled together and started the transformation of their entrance area. But the question is, will it be up to scratch for judging day in 2 months' time? Well, proud leader Diane certainly thinks so.
I think this site's the tops. The people here are magnificent. I don't think anybody else in this country stands a chance, to be honest.
Well, last time I saw this, it was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? So you've done a really good job, obviously sweated hard.
We had lots of people here working with pickaxes, shovels, forks, you name it. We had it here to work on the mud and try to get rid of the mud.
And I noticed as well, Diane, at the end there, you've planted a low-growing comfrey underneath the shrubs.
Yes, yes.
That's a lovely plant, isn't it?
It's beautiful, yes. And you know what? It's the best weed suppressor I've ever come across. I've put some under my raspberries on my plot, and there's not a weed in sight.
No, that's
it's
exactly
wonderful.
what I do. I put it.
Yeah.
I grow it underneath all my fruit, and of course, when
Yes.
you trim it back, you just put the leaves straight in the compost.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I think it's
yes.
plants tend to grow better in association, don't they? If you get tier planting, they all seem to look healthier to me.
Yes.
They like being in communities, don't they? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
And you've seen a lot of small women on the site now. You were saying it was a lot of men to start off with, and it's what, nearly half and half now?
It's half and half now. I think it's mainly because they've got families and they want to know what they're putting in the children's mouths, to be honest. That they don't want the vegetables that have had all the fertilisers and insecticides on.
And now we've got the youngsters coming in. They're keen on having a go. They watch the telly programmes and they get diving in, and they come round and ask for advice, and you give them the advice and they do it, and they're doing really well.
Now with a total of 55 plots to look at, it's time for Hannah and me to dig deep and get on with some serious judging across the site. We'll be noting down the bad points as well as the good. But for the moment, it's Bob's plot that has caught our eye.
Chris, I really wanted to show you this plot because for me, this sort of sums up the site. It's beautifully neat. Everything's really professionally grown, and you can see on a lot of places in the site how they're doing successional planting. So look, here's your earlies.
Early potatoes, yeah?
Early potatoes, plastic down to warm all the soil up.
So that means you get quicker growth from them because the heat's been sealed in, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as those flower, those are going to be ready to dig up and go.
So that's a good tip, is it? Once you see them flower, you take your potatoes up, would you?
Yeah. And you
Okay.
can keep yourself from potatoes really from a month from now, so sort of May, June, right the way through to September, October. Here, he's got a bit of, what would you say, this Derris powder, I think,
Yep.
on this. So how much organic stuff is going on, don't know.
I don't know, yeah. That looks like evidence maybe he's using a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we've got some lovely things happening here. We've got all these salad crops coming through, look.
Lovely, next that really is a production centre, isn't it? He's really utilising his space, and that's very important on an allotment site.
Definitely, and one of the things you could do, even if you've got a small garden, if you're growing these sort of cut and come again salads,
Yep.
every 3 weeks you're putting in new seed, you'd be cropping for the whole summer. Now this...
What is this then?
This is for your ladybirds. I don't know if you can see there's some holes in there.
yeah.
Ladybirds climb in there, lay their eggs, and of course it's the ladybird larvae that really go to town on eating all the green fly and all the bugs.
So they're a very important piece of biological control,
Yeah, definitely.
Eddington allotments are looking strong, with an on-site shop, a great family feel, and immaculate presentation. But we shall leave no stone unturned as we continue in our search for the Digging for Victory champion. Welcome back to Digging for Victory. We're in Herne Bay, Kent at the Eddington Lane allotments as they tried to convince us this is the best allotment site in Britain. One of the areas they're hoping to score high on is produce and growing techniques. Hannah has met a lady who has some very unusual methods as she tries to grow the perfect veg.
So Lorna, you've got this lovely plot, you're completely organic.
Yes.
But there's another special method that you use for your planting. Tell me about that.
Lunar planting or gardening by the moon, but it doesn't mean I come down at midnight and do it.
Okay, what does it mean then, gardening by the moon?
You plant according to the phases of the moon. There's different days. There's fruit seed days, leaf days, root days and flower days.
And would that apply to the whole country, or is it just this area?
No, it's the whole country because the moon is the same for the whole country.
Yeah, so you plant on certain days, and why would you do that?
It's according to the phases of the moon, the seeds are more likely to germinate better and quicker on that 1 or 2 days. It comes round about every 9 days, but that's how it
And
how it
is that
works.
to do with the sort of forces of the moon and the warmth of the soil at that time?
And the pool and everything else, yes. There's a great diary that you can use. You look up the
day, what's
day,
today?
which is
26th of April?
26th. And it's a fruit seed day, which means it would be for beans, sweet corn. Tomorrow there's no planting. After 10 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday and Monday are all root days.
Right, and you're completely organic. So in front of us here, we've got your beans planted in the back, and then you've got loads of mulch. We've got even newspaper underneath.
Yes.
And tell me why you're putting that down.
Because it suppresses weeds,
Yeah.
it keeps moisture in. Runner beans love their moisture.
Yeah.
It doesn't suppress mare's tail.
Mare's tail.
It is an absolute horror.
Organically, how would you be getting rid of that?
With that,
Do you want a hand to clear the mare's tail before we put the beans in?
That's an offer that I can't refuse. Thank you, Hannah.
Luna Lorna demonstrates one of the many techniques that can be found on allotments, where people learn from each other. In Eddington, one of the most knowledgeable plot holders is also one of the youngest, and he's quite happy to share his expertise. 15-year-old Josh has been growing veg since he was 8 years old. And at the opposite end of the spectrum is 75-year-old Charlie, who's been gardening for less than a year. Charlie wants to learn how to plant cauliflowers, and it's allotment prodigy Josh who's on hand to help.
Just dig a really big hole so the plant will fit in there quite snug, but you need to dig it a bit deeper so that the lime and compost mix will fit in and the plant will still be a snug fit. Right, just very carefully squeeze the pot either side like that to loosen the soil around it.
Right.
If you grab it just at the bottom there,
Yeah.
once you've done that, put the pot upside down and just tap it. Should come out like that. And then just as you put it in, if there's any roots, try and untangle them. You can then get a bit of the lime and compost mix.
Yeah.
Make sure it's right near where the roots are so the roots can pick it all up. Hold it upright and push the soil in around it.
Yeah.
So it's planted almost to the bottom leaf.
Also learning to garden at Eddington are 6-year-old Peter and 7-year-old David, who are being mentored by mum Amanda.
Right, there we go, David. Hold for you. Hold for you, Peter. That's it, well done.
Amanda's passion for allotments was passed on to her by her father, and now she's trying to do the same for her own boys.
Many years ago, my dad had an allotment when I was a young girl, and I used to love going down there. It was great fun. The boys, when they come down, they every year they're given an area, and they can grow whatever they like in there, and hopefully they'll have a bigger plot one day. You never know. They might grow it for me in my old age.
Amanda is keen for her boys to enjoy growing fruit and veg, but worries that they might get bored on the allotment. She has designated some of her second plot as a creative area and feels this is the key to them enjoying their time here.
It's important to have somewhere for the children to be whilst you're down here. You can't expect them, when we come down for the whole day, to do the things that you want to do. If you give them an area to play in, they're fine. You know, they can entertain themselves, they're okay. You know, otherwise it's, Mum, can I have this? Mum, can I have that? Give them somewhere to play and you can stay for the whole day.
Back at Charlie's plot, the cauliflowers are in, and it's time for Josh to pass on one of his secret tips.
Right, now we've got to place bran, which is fairly cheaply bought in most shops for 80p for a 2 kilo bag, and it lasts quite a long time. And it's just an organic way to keep away slugs. So you sprinkle it around your plant, in this case cauliflowers, and the slugs eat away at the bran, and they get fat, and it's really difficult for them to move any further to get to the brassica.
So that's why I get fat slugs on mine. He chucks his slugs away. Did you hear that?
It seems Josh has been sharing his slugs as well as his knowledge. So, Josh, we'll just start with you, mate. You've been around allotments for years. What started that off?
Love being outside. Can't be stuck in a hot classroom all the time. Just got to be outside in the nice fresh air.
So I've got to ask, which do you prefer, football or gardening?
Football.
Man can't live by cabbages alone. Talking of cabbages, I know you planted some cauliflowers back in the winter. How did they do?
Well, they've sort of been eaten by pests. It's
Bit of a disaster.
Oh no.
Is it Charlie?
We covered everything up. Done all the preparatory for bran, stopping slugs, you name it, we did it. And we lifted everything up, and all we got is stalks.
But other than that, your onion crop is looking really healthy, Charlie, isn't it?
Yeah, the ones behind me are overwintering onions, white and red. And shallots, they went in about 5-6 weeks ago. and they really produce.
Yeah.
You know, so they tell me. I'm still.
No.
Still.
Well, I'll
doing
tell you, the trick with onions is always to give them plenty of nitrogen. They're like a really good feed, and if you use chicken pellets, chicken manure, anything like that, smells terrible. But onions love it. They need a lot of nitrogen to really get going. So
you fell in love with allotments, haven't you, over the last year?
God, I'll say it's taken over.
Really?
Yeah, but you come up here, you have a good. I've met Josh, lots of people. I haven't got a clue on most things, and I go and ask, and they say yeah, and they come down and they'll show you, they'll help you. It's a good life up here.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a real sense of community, and you've been learning a lot off you, has he, Josh?
Oh yeah.
Fair bit, eh?
Yeah, I got it off Bob though. So.
But that's how you pass it on, isn't it? That's how it works. Yeah.
If, like Josh and Charlie, you want to become part of the new generation of allotment gardeners, you'll be glad to know that in the UK there are around 500,000 allotment plots. The majority of sites are owned by the local council, which may have a waiting list, but don't let that deter you, because plots do become available quite regularly. Allotment plots are measured in rods or poles, which are old farming terms. They equal the distance from the back of the plough to the nose of the ox. The average plot size is 10 rods, and the average rent is about £25 a year. Well, back at Eddington Allotments, our day of judging is almost at an end. Hannah and I now must compare notes and score the site in each of the 4 main categories: produce, eco-friendliness, community relations and visual impact. Produce, what do you think?
Eating broad beans earlier. I mean, it's early, isn't it, down here?
Yeah.
But, they tasted fantastic.
What about heritage varieties?
It's just very much the bog standard seeds, and I'd love to see them growing and encouraging more heritage varieties of this area.
So, eco-friendliness.
Yeah, this is a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, you've got people like Lorna, who's completely eco-friendly because she's completely organic and biodynamic and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And you've got other people using slug pellets.
Yeah, a little bit of both going on.
Both, yeah.
A visual impact, I think, again, they're going to score really high here because they've got a really neat, tidy, well-kept site, haven't they?
Yeah, you cannot mark them down on this site.
Good communal buildings, good use of land. I mean, they're hitting the target all over the place, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they are on that one.
We won't be able to name our final 3 until we've visited each of the 9 nominated sites. But if Eddington makes the cut, we'll be seeing them again in our grand finale. Really well done, you know, it's a cracking site. It's absolutely immaculate, you know, and obviously no dying. Making sure everybody stays in order, are you, gal? Hey? Bob, it is an amazing allotment, and all of you, brilliant, like. And obviously I can't tell you any scores now, for obvious reasons, but really well done, and all the best for the future. So, will Eddington Lane make it through to the final 3 of our grand finale? Or will they be pipped at the post by another of our nominated sites? To find out, keep watching Digging for Victory.